Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Millionaire Real Estate Agent Podcast. I'm Jason Abrams, and this is the place where we lift the curtain on the world of real estate like never before. Every week, I sit down with visionaries, pirates, and mavericks. We're here to document, demonstrate, and most importantly, demystify their game-changing models and systems. What secrets propel them to the top? And how are they living their dreams? This is about passion, it's about strategy, but above all, it's about real, tangible success. So buckle up and let's dive in. This is the Millionaire Real Estate Agent Podcast. Agent intelligence. That's what AI used to stand for, and by the way, still does depending on the circles you run in. But artificial intelligence is what everybody is talking about. Friends, whether you like it or not, or whether you realize it or not, you are living through one of the most important and greatest changes that has happened to humanity since it became a thing. Artificial intelligence, quite simply, is changing the way you work, and it will change the way you live. You are at the infant stage of it, and it is not going away. Friends, just like the internet wasn't a fad, either is this. You're going to listen to a discussion today with a man who has devoted the last 3 years of his life to learning AI. He is a serial entrepreneur who in Silicon Valley has successfully started and exited 8 different businesses. He runs a school called Section, which teaches people all about AI. Friends, he is the AI CEO. I am talking about none other than Greg Shove. He is going to tell us exactly what AI is and how to think about it. Sit back and buckle up. This is Greg Shove. And I am joined by a legend in the AI space, Greg Shove. Greg, how are you, sir?
Jason, I'm good. I'm not a legend, but I appreciate
You say you're not a legend. Here's how I know you are, because I'm a big fan of your educational platform Section. And my mom and I have been watching an AI class that you've been teaching. So to us, you're legendary.
I appreciate it. I'm glad I'm here.
I ask everyone the same question. I say, how did you get into the greatest industry in the world? And of course, I am talking about real estate. I can't ask you that, but I can ask you, how did you become kind of the AI CEO and the teacher to the industry on this? What's your journey?
Yeah, my journey is basically realizing I didn't have a choice. I'm 63, I type with 2 fingers, and I want to keep working. I love to work, and my plan is to keep working for at least 5, if not 10 more years. And I live and work in Silicon Valley. It's the most ageist place in the world. If you're not 28 in a hoodie, you're an idiot. And so the first day I used ChatGPT Plus, like for a lot of time, for a few hours, was February the 1st, 2023. And that day I said to myself, this is the way I'll keep working. This will be my cognitive edge. This will be the way that I can stay sharp and compete with these young guns here, in Silicon Valley. Second thing that I realized in that moment was I've never made money in my life unless as a startup guy, as an entrepreneur. I've only made money when I've caught a wave. And the companies, and I'm a 7-time founder CEO now, the companies that worked and the companies where I was able to get liquidity for investors, for myself, for my employees, were companies that were positioned inside of a wave. And the first one was e-commerce a long time ago, 25 plus years ago. Then it was mobile, and then it was cloud. And then really playing with AI that day, 2.5 years ago, I realized this was the wave, and I had to position myself personally, and I had to position, my businesses and my investing, all really aligned into this wave, because it was clear this technology was so transformational. It would be relevant to all of us, regardless of what industries we worked in, how we made a living, and in our home life, in our parenting, in our personal lives. These technologies were going to be really transformative. So that was the day I said, I'm going to become an AI guy, and I'm going to pivot my businesses into AI. And by the way, when we decided to teach an AI class for business leaders, there was no one teaching it. So I had to teach it reluctantly. I'm not the best guy to teach an AI strategy class or business class, but there was no one else around teaching these classes because this was over 2.5 years ago. So, now it's more accepted. And there's a lot of people talking about it. My LinkedIn feed is full of AI influencers and hype masters. And so frankly, we don't need more AI hype. We got too much of it. What we need is practical skills. How do we get into this? How do we use it? Where it works, where it doesn't work, and kind of get ourselves ready for what's really, starting to happen all around us.
Victor, can we take even a step sideways? Start with, what the hell is it? Like, what is AI?
A couple ways to think about it. Here's one way. It's like borrowing 30 points of IQ every time you wake up and go into work. So if someone said for, near free, ChatGPT has a free version, the $20 a month, I would encourage everybody to pay for and use to get a little bit more functionality. I think it's worth $20 a month, but that's basically near free, a cost of a couple cups of coffee, at least in San Francisco. You get 30 points of IQ. So what it is some crazy technologies that got invented in Silicon Valley, mostly at Stanford and Google, but not exclusively, right? There's other smart people around the world, MIT in Boston, London, a few places. But really, it's here in Silicon Valley, a bunch of smart PhDs, a whole bunch of computing power, which is why NVIDIA stock, took the ride it took the last 3 years, a whole bunch of computing power, some technologies. You don't need to know how it works, really. We don't need to know how a car works. We drive a car, right? So I think this is the case with AI. What we need to know is it's pretty smart. It's near free, and if we learn how to use it, we're going to get a lot of value from it, I think, both in terms of our personal lives and, our work lives.
Brilliant, by the way. You just managed to debunk and simplify this giant concept. So let's go down both of these roads. I want to hit business first, and then I'd like to talk personal. And I want you to pretend you're talking to... Here, I was about to give you a prompt. I'm going to stop myself, Greg. I've been learning from you. You're talking to the most successful real estate entrepreneurs in the world that are listening. They're all the CEOs of their businesses. I'm a CEO. How do I wake up tomorrow and start thinking about it? And what should I be doing?
First of all, if you're that successful already, moderate your investment in AI. Remember what you're good at and keep doing that, because it sounds like you're already successful. AI is not going to be this magic bullet tomorrow. It's going to come in and 10x your revenue or 10x your listings, or, it is being overhyped and kind of being oversold. And if you're experienced in this industry, you probably will be able to use AI, but not as much as someone who's more junior. When I think about AI and I think about where you are in your career, I think it's got a lot more benefit to people who are earlier in their career, because they can accelerate their learning, right? They can use AI as a teacher, as a thought partner. They can use AI to kind of get them up that learning curve in their industry. If you're already really successful and know how to run your business, quite frankly, in the short term right now, AI might have less value. I think for all of us, though, for junior and senior, from the entry-level employee to the CEO in real estate or any industry, AI is a thought partner. I want people to really lead with this use case, which is use AI as a coach, as a thought partner, as a mentor to help you think through medium to high stakes decisions. In real estate, I think this idea of AI as a negotiation coach is a great idea. Just before you help your clients do those negotiations, or if you're doing them yourself, use AI as someone to bounce off, a couple different negotiation approaches with. Use AI as a negotiation coach. I think is a great use case for real estate.
I love that. By the way, friends, don't worry about taking notes. I get it. You're bombing down the highway in the Teslas. I hear you. I'm taking the notes. So if you don't get them, they come out every Thursday. You go to MREAnotes.com. You can get them there. Greg, let me ask you this. When you say use it as a thought partner, for my friends out there that don't know how to use it as a thought partner, what does that actually mean?
Sure, yeah. That's a great question. What it means is, first of all, get ChatGPT or Gemini, which is from Google, or Claude, which is from a company called Anthropic. They're all kind of the same. Here's the good news right now, Jason, about these AIs. They seem to be all pretty much of similar capabilities, which is good. I would get the paid version because in my world, I use GPT a lot, ChatGPT. I also use Claude. I also use Gemini. I like ChatGPT as my Swiss Army knife for AI. So if I had to pick one, I'd probably pick that one. And I would pay for the $20 that gives me the iPhone app, gives me the mobile app, and it gives me advanced voice mode so I can talk to it. And you want to really, especially when you're driving, you want to talk to your AI. Really time efficient. It's really easy to do. So you talk to your AI, and what you do is you ask your AI to adopt a persona, to play a role. So in case of a negotiation, right, there's always two parties. You're playing one party, you're one role. Ask your AI to play the other role. It might be with a client, it might be with a seller, a buyer, whatever. And basically use AI to play the person on the other side of the table. In your personal life, that would be use AI to play the role of a doctor. If you want to get a second opinion and get ready to go see a doctor or get ready for parent-teacher night, or whatever it might be, AI can play the role of the teacher. AI can play the role of a doctor. AI can play the role of a real estate agent. So basically ask AI to adopt a role and then just start a conversation with AI. What most people are doing, Jason, are using, especially people who are kind of, in their 40s, older, they're using AI more like Google. That's not the right way to think about AI. AI is not a search engine. And if you kind of go with one question expecting to get one kind of perfect answer, I think you're going to be disappointed. It's not the right way to think about AI. Think about AI as more like an advisor or a coach, and that you're going to have a conversation. And Silicon Valley likes to do this. They like to come up with this new jargon, right? Just to make them feel smart and us feel dumb. So they came up with things like prompt engineering. Let's learn how to prompt. Well, all prompting is knowing how to ask questions. And we know how to do that because we're human. And we know how to have conversations because we're human. And that's what we do all day. And that's what you're trying to do with your AI. Have a good conversation. You don't ever take the first answer from AI. Quite frankly, the first answer is often the weakest, because it's kind of the most generic answer, because AI is trying to answer everybody's questions, right? So you want to push your AI. Well, why did you say that? Or why do you think that? Or how about this? Or if I came at it from this angle, what do you think, right? Again, think about it as if you were having a conversation with your best mentor or your best business coach, someone that you were spending half an hour or an hour with over coffee or lunch or whatever. You can do that. You don't need an hour. You probably need 15 minutes. But again, don't treat it like I have 1 minute here. I want one right answer. Treat it like a conversation. And I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised. My point of view right now, Jason, in terms of my companies, if any executive comes to me with a medium to high stakes decision, if they haven't consulted with AI first, I think it's irresponsible.
Wow. That is a big statement, Greg.
And I tell them that. I say to them, and this is what I did early on, what does AI think? And if you do that, when people come to you, like, here's an idea, or here's a project, or I need resources, or I want to do this, if you're a leader or a manager of a team, ask the question, what's AI think? And it's going to be very awkward for the first month, because what do you mean? I didn't talk to AI. But you're going to kind of train yourself, frankly, and train everybody else that you work with. Talk to AI first. I'm not saying we're going to do what AI tells us to do. Again, it's not like this magic oracle that has the best answer every time. It doesn't. It's like you get 30 points of extra IQ in a thought partner to talk to something. You're not going to necessarily change your decision. You might optimize it. AI will help you think about things we don't think about. That's what I love about AI. AI doesn't have blind spots. We all have blind spots. We make decisions a certain way. We have sort of our favorite sort of, go-to ways of coming up with an answer. We have risk avoidance. We have these sort of mental kind of patterns that we use, right? And habits. And AI has none of those. AI can really look at everything from every angle in a second. And so take advantage of it,
Yeah, I was sitting with someone the other day, and they were referencing De Bono's 6 Thinking Hats, the book that he wrote. And he said that AI plays all 6 anytime, instantly.
Yeah, I love that. That's a great analogy. Exactly. Yeah.
I want to parrot this back to you and make sure that I'm getting it, because I'm a neophyte. Your depth here, right? So number one, I'm going to pick my large language model, and then I really well serve to pay for it. Then number two, I'm going to ask it to adopt a persona so it knows the perspective it's taking. Number three, I'm going to start a simple conversation around my question and my beliefs and thoughts. And I'm going to be sure to always ask follow-up questions to get the best outcome. Is that, in a nutshell, what you're saying?
It is. I'm going to add one thing, Jason. I forgot to mention this. You can customize, to some extent, your favorite AI by telling it more about you in your profile. And you need to do that. I mean, you're going to have a better outcome with AI. So in the case of ChatGPT, they have something called custom instructions. It's in your settings. Go and fill that out. Take a few minutes. reflect on the custom instructions allows you to answer two questions in terms of telling the AI how you want it to work with you and who you are and what your priorities are. I, in fact, just went and updated my custom instructions for ChatGPT, reflecting my goals for the second half of this year. So my AI knows what I'm working on and what I care about. Second thing about these AIs, and that's why I like picking one primary AI, is they're all developing memories. And the memories mean they get to know who you are based on the conversations you're having. So the more conversations you have with one AI, the more the AI is actually learning who you are and what matters to you. And it's not amazing yet, but there are these moments of amazement where your AI is reflecting back in an answer something it learned about you a month ago in a different conversation it had with you. And so, this is showing the future, really, which is, these AIs are going to know a lot about us. So for some people, that might be a little freaky in terms of data privacy. It's not to me. I'm promiscuous with my data with AI. I want the value of AI knowing me better and kind of offering me more help. And so memory to me and custom instructions and a complete profile, I think is a good thing to do because I get better support from AI when I do that.
It's so funny. So I saw some viral TikTok trend or something, and it said, ask your AI what you would do if you won $1 million tomorrow. And so I asked my AI, and it said, well, you're already a millionaire. You wouldn't do anything different tomorrow. And I had this moment where I was like, it knows me.
Yeah, and it's going to know you better and better, as time goes on. And listen, I think we should be smart about this, meaning let's be clear what big tech wants to do. Big tech wants us addicted, so they can charge us every month for it and make a bunch of money, right? And so listen, let's be smart about it, meaning, let's pick our favorite AI. Let's probably have a second AI we work with as well. Let's not forget how to do critical thinking. So one of the things I do want people to do, and you described the playbook to get up and running and to get kind of value from AI. I'd add, so the advanced part of that playbook, Jason, is don't cut and paste from AI. Don't be lazy. Don't be cognitively or mentally lazy. By the way, AI makes mistakes. We all know that. AI hallucinates. Again, another Silicon Valley, jargon, which means AI makes up because it's not perfect technology yet, and it may never be. But really what I want people to know is it's a co-pilot. It's a thought partner, but you're still the driver. You're the human. Steve Jobs called the personal computer the bicycle for the mind. If that's the case, AI is our pedaling partner. But I want you to think about a tandem as the visual analogy, and the human's in the front of the tandem, and the AI is the co-pilot, and they're behind us in the seat behind. And if you've ever ridden a tandem before, you know that the person at the front of the bike decides everything. How fast to go, what cadence to pedal at, when to stop for lunch and have a beer, where to go, and so on. So that's the human. And so we really, especially with our kids, we have to help our kids in high school and college use these technologies without just outsourcing all their thinking and all their knowledge generation to AI, because that's not going to end well for them or for humanity. Yeah. And so I want us to manage our AIs, not be passengers to the AIs.
Listening to you, I've been thinking of AI as this generalized well that we're all using. I hear you say the word my AI. Whether you realize you're saying it or not, you probably do. You're so purposeful. You've taken possession and you've turned it into your AI. Is that how I should be thinking about it? That that AI in general might be big, but it's going to become unique to me as I go?
Absolutely. Listen, AI is going to be watching our desktop soon in terms of what we're working on, and will actually step in proactively to help us when we're in a document or a contract or a deck or an email. We're not very far away from having these AIs around us and basically assisting us, when we want, or even suggesting how it can assist us. We're talking to AI now. I bought one of these limitless pins, Jason, which is one of these things that records. I'll probably lose it in about a week. I've had it for a week, so I may not even last a month. But it's $500. It records everything, and I'm not sure its value yet. But I bought it because I do want to understand where we're going with this technology. And where we're going with it is it's going to be around us all the time and personalized to us. And so, I think it's important now to kind of figure this out. Get our training wheels on. And for some industries, I don't think real estate, but for some industries, law, for example, management consulting, you're going to have to be able to work with AI, or I think you do have a more professional risk in terms of your livelihood and your ability to make money. So I want people to either leverage AI and or not to be caught by surprise by AI, because it can do work that we used to do.
I'm not outing you, I promise, but you just went through a real estate deal. And I'm wondering, as you went through it, beautiful purchase, by the way, but as you went through it, did you have moments where you said, that's where if I was a real estate agent, I would be using AI, or as a buyer, this is where walk me through how you thought about it.
Yeah. And as a buyer, I was using AI the whole time. And by the way, my agent was using AI and telling me when he was using AI. So I think we should think about AI as probably the researcher, the analyst, and I already mentioned the third use case, the negotiator. So as the researcher, I think AI is great. It's just to help me understand neighborhoods, property valuations. If I'm doing maybe a rental property purchase, maybe help me think through, rental yields, cap rates, cash on cash returns, stuff like that. But just, both the client's probably doing that anyway. So maybe you should be doing it just so you know what the client's learning.
It's pretty, yes. You'd hate to be the least educated person in the room when you're the confidant.
Right. This is like 25 years ago when people started using Google. And then if your clients are using Google, you should be using Google. So they're going to search on a property and see what comes up in the Google search listing. Then you probably needed to know what was coming up in that search as well. So you could be able to talk to your client about it, right? Because they're informing themselves that way. Well, that's shifted almost overnight to the AI. I bet most buyers, certainly in certain markets, are absolutely using AI all the time as they start their search to buy or to sell, right? So I think you need to be keeping pace with your clients, at least being as well informed, if you will. And by the way, you'll notice where AI is making mistakes. So your client may be ill-informed because AI, did not advise them the right way or give them the right information. You need to know that. And you can say, no, that's not accurate. AI made a mistake. This is what's accurate. This is what the data says, right? This is what the MLS says.
The researcher, the analyst, and I got coach and mentor. What's the analyst side?
The analyst is like, code, contract review, permit violations, risk assessments. Use AI as your sort of outsourced real estate analyst, if you will. Again, check the work. I know what my agent was doing. He was taking some of those contracts and just doing quick reviews for us using AI.
Now, you said something that I think is genius. You said he was telling me when he was using AI. And I think right now there's this, it almost feels like you're catching people. Like I got an email the other day that I know was written in AI because it had like these weird icon emojis in it. And I was like, this is horse shit. This guy didn't write this. But he didn't tell me that. And so I felt like I caught him in a gotcha moment. How does a real estate agent have that conversation with their client?
Yeah, it's a great question, Jason. I think we're in this challenging transition right now where using AI feels like cheating. Using AI feels like cutting corners, right? We have these deep cultural beliefs about work, right? Work hard and it's my work. It's original, unique to me or my idea, all that stuff, right? It's got to change. And by the way, using AI is not cheating. And we have to tell kids in school that. We have to teach them how to use AI the right way. It's not cheating. And same at work. And by the way, and I say this to especially lawyers, because they're always like, well, no client wants a legal work done by AI. And I'm like, actually quite the opposite. Why would I hire a dumber and slower lawyer?
Wow.
Right? Like, I want my lawyers to be the fastest and the smartest. And that means they're going to be using AI. And I think we're starting to realize now as AI becomes more mainstream, we should acknowledge it. We should not be hiding that we're using it. Again, as a client, I want my real estate agent telling me I'm absolutely optimizing my business, my practice, my team. I'm optimizing my team with AI. And I know where to use AI. I know where not to use AI. And I know where you're going to rely on my experience and my knowledge of the market and my knowledge of, this neighborhood or whatever it is. I want AI to do enough of the work so the people that I'm relying on can really do the high brain power work. Think about your work as there's low brain power, repetitive work, and there's high brain power, high judgment work. And I want, as a client, that my kind of people working with me, my vendors, my consultants, whatever, my agents, my lawyers, I want them really focused on the high cognitive work. So they can outsource some of that, manpower work, the repetitive work to AI, contract review. Great. Because then I know I'll get more of their time on the stuff that matters. And so, yeah, I think we're in this moment where we're not sure. Should we acknowledge it? Should we tell clients we're using AI? Again, my point of view is yes, cross that bridge Your clients are going to expect it soon. They're going to think you're smarter. And the way to do it, again, is I was in a Waymo this morning. I came to this new house. You're right. Just bought this house. I'm the first day in the house today, this morning. And we were in a hotel last night because, we weren't not moved in. And I took a Waymo. And I'd never been in a Waymo.
Okay. So I have, because we haven't been in Austin, but for our friends that don't have it, Greg, explain that experience.
It's a driverless car. It's a magical experience. Waymo uses Jaguars currently. It's a Jaguar where the steering wheel, there's no one sitting in the driver's seat. And you order it up like an Uber via an app. You get in, and it's a great experience. And you realize, okay, this is what's going to happen when you think about knowledge work. The entry-level knowledge work, the grunt work of knowledge work is going to be done by machines, by AI, as it is in driving, as it is, when you think about, and this is going to happen across industry, including, of course, real estate and all other knowledge work. So that's good. That allows us to accelerate up out of that work and offer more value to our clients. I think we'll get more capacity as well. I think the best agents will frankly be supercharged by AI. I think about AI for the ambitious. I think about AI as a performance enhancing drug, and we should all be taking it.
Wow. There's so much fear around it. But when I hear you talk about it, I get excited and I'm thinking about the possibility. Why do you think the tendency is to immediately say, nope, not me, and give this thing the stiff arm?
It happens all the time in any significant change or disruption. If you're over the age of 35, whatever is new is unnatural and you want nothing to do with it. If you're the age of 20 to 35, this is really interesting. I'm going to figure this out. And if you're below the age of 20, this is the way of life. You're native to whatever this new technology is. That's always how it kind of works out when you think about these moments. So, Sam Altman, who's the CEO of OpenAI, the maker of ChatGPT, had this great quote. And it was basically that people over the age of 40 thought about AI as Google. People in their 30s thought about it as an advisor. People in their 20s thought about it as an operating system for their life.
Wow.
And by the way, I just hired a kid out of Columbia, so fancy Ivy League school. He did a political science degree. This kid's fantastic, just joined our company. He's AI native, meaning we give him any task, we give him any project, and he doesn't even think about, should I use AI? He just uses AI. These are the kids joining our companies. These are the kids joining your real estate businesses. When you think about new agents coming into this business, they're going to come in through high school and college having used AI every day.
Wow.
And so when they join our teams and our businesses, they're what I call the first AI native generation. So I want the rest of us to be able to welcome them, make them feel like this is the way to work. And frankly, also help us, accelerate our own AI skills with these AI native team members. But they're about to enter the workforce in the next couple of years, right?
Let me ask you this. I want to switch gears. I got one more AI question, then I want to ask you a few others on different topics. AI is a lead generation source for real estate agents. And this idea of AI SEO, and how do I think about that? And if I'm a real estate agent and I don't want to get left behind, I see the opportunity today, what's the one or two things I should go do tomorrow?
The first thing you should do is just start having conversations with AI like a buyer might, or a seller, I guess, and see what AI serves up as the answers and how it serves up those answers.
Well, wait a second, because I started doing that last night, Greg, and it didn't recommend me as the real estate agent. And I thought, okay, it's wrong because I'm the best that's ever walked the earth in this thing. How do I make sure it knows who I am and recommends me to other people?
Welcome to these moments of transition, right, or disruption. Yeah, listen, the SEO business is going to be replaced by something they're already calling GEO. I'm not even sure what that means. I know what it means, optimizing for generative AI. And quite frankly, it's going to be a whole new and massive industry. And it's being developed now. And what I would probably do without spending much money is find someone that can help you think through, okay, what if, it's going to take 10 years, Jason, but over 10 years, a massive amount of search query volume that now Google basically dominates is going to switch to AI conversations. That it's clearly happening.
If I'm Google, though, do I have a real problem? Because from what I can tell, and at least in my life, If I'm doing a Google search, I'm getting a lot of answers from Gemini now. I'm not clicking on as many links as I used to, but that company makes 300 billion a year making sure people click on the links. Do they wake up in the morning and say, I got an existential problem?
Yes, they're going to see revenue erosion every week for the next 10 years. And that's why they're scrambling, obviously, in terms of, first of all, catching up from a product perspective. And I think Gemini is their AI model and has caught up. Gemini 2.5 Pro is the latest version. I think it's quite strong. And if you're a Google shop, which we are, we use Google Drive and Google Docs and Gmail, I think it makes a lot of sense to try out Gemini just because of the integrations into your work environment. But yeah, listen, Google's got a huge problem. And it's why they're scrambling. And it's the hardest thing to disrupt yourself, as you know, right? It's the hardest thing, especially when you got a cash cow with like 95% market share, which is what they have. But to their credit, they're already doing that. To your point, Gemini, generated answers, those answer summaries, those AI summaries at the top of search, they're pretty good. And they're doing it to themselves because they know if they don't, someone else will take that, kind of that volume from them. But you're right. That means they're getting less clicks on those ads below, and they're going to have to figure out how to bridge that kind of revenue gap. And I think a lot of companies, media, advertising, search, it's a lot of early industries that will early on face the kind of the unforgiving disruption of AI. Absolutely. So I wouldn't short Google personally. I have a lot of faith in Google's ability to manage through it. And I see that they've got other businesses like Waymo that are the future, but certainly, they're going to have to figure it out.
So I mentioned earlier that I'm a huge fan of Section, that my mom and I are taking the classes. I just dig what you guys are doing, and I love the way it's so easy to use it, to find the course I want, to take it, to know if it's being taught live or on demand. Like, I'm a power user. But I'm a little confused because you're a serial entrepreneur who thinks in the new world. Why education? Like, why have you decided to go and lift all of us up along with you? Why did you choose to be a teacher?
Well, first of all, I thought it was a better business than it's actually turned out to be. I mean, as I tell the team, if you're having a bad day, go into we use Slack as our, sort of company chat platform. And we have a channel in Slack called Student Feedback. And I tell everybody, when you're having a bad day, just go into that channel and read the student feedback, because we pipe in student feedback into that channel. And it's amazing to read it because you are really, can transform people's lives. You can help them. You can really make an impact on people, especially in these moments where most people are not proficient. They're basically AI novices and they're scared because the media has this, narrative that AI is coming for our jobs or they're overhyped, doom and gloom or overhyped. So the overhype is AI is going to find the cure for cancer next week and we're all going to, basically be on the beach getting our UBI checks because AI is doing all the work. That's BS. And they're not coming for us either. And by the way, the people that use AI a lot realize these things aren't that great yet. The novices, the ones who don't use AI, I find are the most scared because they don't use it and don't realize, well, they're pretty helpful and useful, but not taking my job anytime soon. So listen, I just feel like in these moments, we need to help people make the transition, especially in the United States. In the United States, we're very Darwinian. We're a meritocracy, and it is really survival of the fittest. And so we don't really have a lot of government programs and really significant upskilling programs. We don't invest in that. We expect people to figure it out themselves. And that's just the way we work here. And so we want to help people get into the AI class and be ready for this moment and the transitions that are happening or the change that's happening. Sort of be good at using AI and bore the 30 points of IQ.
You're on the road and getting darn close to 1 million members of people that wake up every day and want to learn new things. And here's what I can tell you, and you probably already know it, but I've gotten a little bit of a community from what you're providing. And when you hang out with other people that are learning for learning's sake, that are educationally based, that wake up in the morning and start with concepts that make their life better, your users are awesome folks. I'm having a ball just hanging out with them.
I agree. They're amazing. And we've been able to tap into that community actually and hire people from it and find jobs for people that are in that community, because it is that, you're right, it's a community of sort of AI enthusiasts, people with growth mindset, people with ambition, people with intellectual curiosity, not just intellectual curiosity, but how can I apply these tools, right, to make a better living or be a better parent? Lots of ways to use AI, I think, to sort of increase the quality of our work and personal lives. And I want more people doing that as fast as possible, because also I think there's risk with AI, meaning it will do work that people do today, and it will impact, some people's jobs. And customer service and support, if you think about call centers, they are going to be largely fully automated within 5 years, I think, using AI. So those people are going to have to transition into new roles. Again, I don't see really an impact on your business, Jason. I think AI can mostly be a productivity lift or boost for most people who work in real estate.
So, Greg, I know that every one of our listeners is out there and all they want is more of you. I know this. I'm going to get the emails. I'm going to get the calls. Where can our people go? How do you want them to experience what y'all are doing?
The first thing I want them to do is go to Prof.AI. So we just built, Jason, an AI coach to teach you AI. And the reason I did this is that I want our learning to be more personalized faster. So, workshops and lectures and online classes are great, but I tell you what's magical in terms of learning is a learning experience that as soon as we know about you, we customize the learning experience based on what we know about you. So we built Prof.AI. It's an AI-powered coach that teaches you AI. And you tell Prof.AI, that you're in the real estate business and what market you work in or what city you work in. And immediately, Prof.AI will start teaching you AI, how to prompt and how to find your best use cases, how to use AI as a thought partner and so on. But it'll customize everything for you because now we know you're a real estate agent in Austin or Houston or wherever, right? So the first time you have one of these experiences, it's like magic because you realize this is the future of learning when it's AI powered. It's not one size fits all, one class for everybody. This can actually be personalized. So I want everybody to go to Prof.AI. Prof.AI or Prof.AI is free for consumers. Companies pay. So we'll have to get your company to pay for it. But for everybody else, it's free. That's going to be spend 45 minutes there with Prof.AI, and you're going to become proficient and really be able to get good value from your AI. So that's what I want people to do.
All right, last question for me. 62 years old, you got enough money to live anywhere you want. You could do anything you want. You can drive anything you want. What's getting you up at the crack of dawn and you're still as active and in the business world and leading like this? Why aren't you just on a golf course? What are you doing, Greg?
Well, I suck at golf. My kids love it. I've got 3 kids. The 2 boys love golf, and I have a son-in-law who loves golf. So I'm trying. I think we're here to add value. I think we're here to help. I think we're here to build. I think we're here to make a contribution, frankly. And so I just feel very lucky, Jason, that kind of AI came along and I was able to sort of grab hold of it and teach myself and then begin to teach others. I get a lot of satisfaction. I get feedback every week on LinkedIn or via email or these conversations that what we're doing adds value. And I feel like I've done well and I had a great life, but I'm not ready to golf. And I feel like in these moments, we have to lead and help others. And so that's what I want to do.
I love it. I love your heart. Thank you for everything that you're doing. I usually just say for our industry, but you're educating all industries. Specifically, though, I know you have a deep love for real estate agents because I heard you mention that on another podcast. Thank you for everything you're doing.
Thank you. I appreciate you inviting me in to chat today.
I mean, there it is. When he explained it as a tandem bike with you sitting in the front and your AI sitting behind you and the person in the front is making the decisions, that absolutely blew my mind. He also said, listen, you're going to get 30 points of additional IQ. So why wouldn't you use it? And that's where this conversation needs to go. Because I know you. I know my audience. The People's Podcast, I know you're skeptical. I know you're out there and you say, I like the way that I'm doing it. But friends, there's a way to be doing it easier and better. And I don't just mean business, I mean life. The reality of picking the large language model that you want to use, it's an easy choice. There's not that many out there. You pick one of those, you simply have it adopt a persona, you tell it about yourself when you're filling it out so it understands who you are and the way you think. You start a conversation and ask follow-up questions. By the way, that is no different than you would teach an incredible coach or an incredible mentor. Greg's argument is an easy one. AI isn't coming for your job. It's coming to make you better at it. Greg's mission is an easy one. The world is going to change and some folks are going to get left behind and not live the fullest life possible. Let me help you. And then finally, the way that Greg sees the future, is incredibly positive and uplifting. It's full of abundance. You can't help but when you're listening to him understand that he thinks this is here to set us free. And you say, but I felt free before he started talking. He's talking about a different level of freedom. He's talking about completing tasks faster. He's talking about making decisions better. And he's talking about living a bigger life and owning a bigger business, all powered by your thoughts made better by AI. Go forth and do likewise. There it is. That wraps another episode. Friends, I don't know what you're taking out of this. I really don't. I'll tell you what I want you to be taking out of it, which is these are the people that are having tremendously big lives. And the reason it's happening is because they're setting up the models and systems to do just that. Gary Keller told me that leadership is teaching people how to think so that they do the things they need to do when they need to do them, so that ultimately they get the things they want when they want to have them. And that's what I want for you. You're all leaders, but it begins with leading ourselves. If you're enjoying this podcast, I want you to click the subscribe button anywhere that you get your podcasts. We want to be the voice in your head every single week, and every week we're dropping new content. We also send out a newsletter at the conclusion of every show to make sure that you get the highest points and the models and systems that were discussed. So if you want to sign up, I need your name and your email address. Head over to the millionaireagentpodcast.com. millionaireagentpodcast.com. Enter your name and your email address, and every week that newsletter will be in your box. Friends, you just went on a journey. I hope that what happens between now and the next time we meet is absolutely wonderful for you. Thanks for listening. I'll see you next week.
This podcast is for general informational purposes only. The views, thoughts, and opinions of the guest represent those of the guest and not Keller Williams Realty LLC and its affiliates, and should not be construed as financial, economic, legal, tax, or other advice. This podcast is provided without any warranty or guarantee of its accuracy, completeness, timeliness, or results from using the information. Any text or materials generated by artificial intelligence, AI, should be reviewed for accuracy and reliability, as there may be errors, omissions, or inaccuracies. Warning: you must comply with the TCPA and any other federal, state, or local laws, including for B2B calls and texts. Never call or text a number on any do not call list, and do not use an auto dialer or artificial voice or pre-recorded messages without proper consent. Contact your attorney to ensure your compliance.